Yo, what's good, everybody? Mikey-Ice. I've been wanting to do this interview for such a long time, though. This is probably gonna be one of the illest interviews of the year for me, for the simple fact that I found one of my partners in crime when we was breaking together. We're talking early as 1993. So we have like already like a 30-year friendship, and we're gonna share a story that's never been told. So when you hear this interview will be the interview that will finally put the pieces of the West Coast puzzle together. That's basically never been told. So thank you for watching, Lori. I'm waiting for my partner to jump in right now. It's gonna be exciting. Yo, what's going on, bro? Thank you for joining in. So let me see if I can get him to come in. Oh man, yo, there we go. So you, it should click on right now. All right.
Oh, Ariston's already on. What's up, Ariston? B-boy,
Ariston's already on.
B-boy remind.
B-boy remind.
Hold on, bro.
Yo, bro. Like, honestly, remind. You came at a good time, though, man. Cause me and Lloyd, though, bro, we about to take you back to the pyramids, the Modesto and Stockton pyramids. So,
For
Lloyd,
sure.
can you introduce yourself to everybody watching right now? Give a little bit of brief history so when people click on it, can be like, oh, shoot, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. My name's Lloyd Gomez. A resident of Modesto. I was actually grew up in Modesto. And back in '88 was when I moved out there, and hip hop was definitely in my blood since '82, '83. But I didn't get into like the whole like dance scene and about till like the new Jack Swing era.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of that house stuff was coming in, and that was like 90, 91. And
Ooh.
yeah, my cousin Albert and I, we were like all about that stuff. And then yeah, it just progressed from there, man. You just seen the styles kind of change as like the seasons changed, right? But yeah, Lloyd Gomez. I'm a creative. That's what I do. That's my career is in creative. But aside
Okay.
from, man, I'm just like you, Mikey. I I live and breathe hip hop. I nerd out on like the backstories of like,
Right.
the back in the day down to like even like the MCs and DJs and graph artists today. So pretty much, yeah,
Um, yeah, I just want to say I appreciate you sharing that, Lloyd, because like my story with you was like when I seen you, I felt like I seen the West Coast version of Mop House, the way that you and Stevie will always be dancing, and you guys always had like the fly hooligan cardigan, you know what I'm saying? You always had the nice Timberland. It looked very Brooklyn to me,
yes,
even though we was in Modesto.
yeah, yes, yeah,
And I was intrigued by that because that was the music that I was already listening to. I was listening to Camp Low, the Boogie Monsters, um, who else? Like Ultramatic MCs, like, Divine Styler. I was already listening to that.
yeah,
So when I seen you, to me, you're like the Filipino version of the Mop House because the way that you and Stevie carried yourself. I knew that you wasn't straight up b-boys, but I knew that you was down with hip hop,
oh
and that's why I gravitated to you so much instantly because I knew like the stuff that you played in your car. I was like, yo,
yeah.
I remember.
So let's take it back. That year was about 93, 94, right?
Right.
Yeah. It was 93, 94. Yeah, that was kind of like the emergence of like the low life like
Mhm.
movement out the coast. And then that video, the Wrecking Shop, came out. But then you also seen all those dancers come out on all the videos. Like Mariah. They danced for Mariah Carey. They danced for CC. Was it CC? What's her name? CC Winans, I think it
CC
was. But
Peniston.
CC Peniston, yes, CC Peniston, and
And then they also came out on another video by a rap group called, I think they were called Scheme, and the name of the song was called Party Line. The Party Line. You would see Mop Top in
yeah,
the back.
so that definitely influenced us too. You know what I mean? And it was on PBS. That documentary came on
Hmm.
PBS, and man, it was like it's just like any videotape, right? You'd like study it, watch it, and just kind of like pick at it, and then eventually you start coming up with those styles, but then you integrate your own styles, right? Everyone's got their own like movements and fluidity, and your body structure is completely different as well too. So the movements look different. So, but that video was definitely an inspiration for us too. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So my question that I want to ask you, Lloyd, I just want to kind of jump into it. Okay. By the time I got to you guys, you was already, it was you and Donnie, which is Crumbs, though. It seemed like you guys were, maybe because you might have been older, a little bit older than him, and then you had the car, so he was more like the sidekick.
Yeah, for sure. So I had heard
And how did you guys first meet? How did you into the world Crumbs first meet? Because I don't know that.
how Crumbs and I first met is I heard through the grapevine that there was this kid that went to Bayer High School, and and I was already, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I had already just graduated from high
What
school,
year was that?
94.
94. Okay.
Yeah. And so heard about this kid, and he was a little b-boy, and he was like he got down, right, but he was also playing drums, so he's really talented. And
Oh, okay.
I can't remember who actually introduced us, but I got in touch with him somehow, and we ended up at his house.
Mhm.
And at that time too, he had the garage all set up. He had linoleum. He had his beats going on in there and everything too. And so I just remember rolling up. I drove up there, and I was like, "Hey, man, I heard about you, and we heard that you were like in a b-boying, and we were like, we were trying to like just kind of network with other dancers, right?" And so if I could recall, we linked up, we went to his house, did our thing, we introduced each other, and then he got down. He was getting down, and I was like, wow, it was impressive, right? He had some dope moves.
Okay.
Yeah. And then ever since then, it was like, let's do these events. We got these like shows that we do, or we got these performances that we do.
In
Because
high
Manrique's
school?
brother, what's that?
Was it in high school or at Enrique's brother's party?
It'd be different events. Like Manrique's threw all kinds,
Mhm.
and if they didn't throw the event, the Manriquez brothers would be a part of like the dancing part and the DJing part of the event, right? And
Mm.
Ivan, Hocus, George, um, yeah, and they always threw down events. So getting Donnie involved was like, man, this kid is good. He's really good, and he has potential. And he was just starting out really too. And mind you, I think he was like a freshman in high school. So so I invited him to like different things that we did. I'd go and pick him up, and the next thing you know, we just became really good friends.
Okay.
Mom and grandma at the time would trust me in taking him out to these types of events and different house parties too. And it
Mhm.
was crazy that they trusted us. You know what I mean? It was like, man, I'm taking their young son out to these like sort of adult gigs. You know what I mean? So, but it was really dope, and I know that it definitely exposed him to a whole new world as well. You know what I mean? Because at that time too, I was still discovering myself. Right? I'm just fresh out of high school. I'm still learning like the events and learning about different crews and just getting into the scene. You know what I mean?
Mhm. That's dope. I heard too that I think it was either Friday or Saturday nights. Everybody would go to that roller ring in Modesto, and I
That's right.
heard that was kind of like the genesis too for you guys as dancers in Modesto. Is that correct?
That
That
is
flame
right. Yeah,
ring,
it was a jam. It was a roller rink called Roller King.
roller king.
Yeah. On the weekends, they would throw down like dance competitions and stuff like that. And I remember there was one year that oh man, that just takes me back. I remember it was 90, 92, and Stevie Montalvo had a brother named David Montalvo, and he was kind of
Oh,
best friend at the time, and he and I competed in a dance competition at the Roller King of jams, and then we took first place. It was pretty dope.
what?
Yeah, it was cool.
That's
It was 92.
crazy.
Yeah, it was cool, man. It
92?
was, and that time too, you know, it was just, we were so exposed, we were so new, you know what I mean? It was like, we'd watch videos, music videos, and you know, we catch dancers in the music video. Back then, you know, a lot of dancers were in the music videos, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
we'd catch wreck watching those videos and get inspired by that.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you too, in 92, it seemed like the valley was on fire when it came to like hip hop. So when, was 92, did you kind of start noticing like the old school was coming back? You started seeing people putting side laces in their shoes. You kind of started seeing people started wearing
Oh
Kangos.
yeah. Yeah, and you know, one of my memories of that, when I did take notice of, like, when we went to a jam in Merced one time, and this was around the 92 era too. And some dudes, and I didn't even catch their crew name, but they were dudes that rolled up from LA to
Ooh.
Merced. It was in Merced. It was at the Merced Fairgrounds. So there was a jam there, and these cats rolled up with fat laces, Pumas, and at that time too, you couldn't find the Puma anywhere, right? The Puma suede, you couldn't get them anywhere. But they had fat laces, they had the Kangles, they had the belt buckles,
Oh.
and it's just like, we're like, who the hell are these dudes, right? At the same time, it was almost, it was in around the time that raving was starting to come out, right? Like raves and stuff were starting to pop off. So these cats came up all the way from LA to dance in Merced, and the next you know, dude, it's like, man, you just knew they weren't from around here.
Mm.
Yeah, so aesthetically, there was like, damn, dude, who are these cats? Back then we were rocking like Asics running shoes with baggy Jabot jeans and big hoodies, and these dudes came straight old school. So it was pretty,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. So for that time, that was kind of like, yo, like these fools are like from B Street or
yeah,
something,
exactly. And
right?
you
Because
know, like,
92, yeah, 92 was that transitioning, like Hall
yeah,
Kanai, 555 Soul,
yeah, 555.
Con Art T-shirts, 187 on the cop.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and those West Coast brands, man, like Con Art, and then you got your East Coast brands, 555 Soul. That's
Mm-hmm.
gravitated to. But well before then, they had brands like Gat. Remember Gat, Gypsies and Thieves?
Oh,
And then
yes.
Stussy was just starting to pop off also. And
And Jim
so we were
stuff.
we were rocking Stussy when it was like, you know, at Levi Strauss or the Miller's Outpost. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys remember that store called Miller's Outpost.
Oh, yeah, I had to go school shopping at Miller's Outpost. That was
Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah. So we used to buy like all our Gat gear there, our Stussy there. Um, Eventually cross colors, and all the cross colors, we get all cross colors there.
Yo, so I'm thinking like
Oh,
maybe the year
we're
like,
talking about fits and gear and shit. And then,
no, that's dope. That's dope. I
yeah,
heard back in the day, I heard back in the day when I was in Madeira that there used to be a club. They said either it was behind a Taco Bell or McDonald's. I think it was called After Dark. It was a theme club.
I'd never heard of that. I might have
Yeah, bro.
there, but I don't. It doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, okay. But that's when I kind of like start hearing like getting a little buzz about like Modesto, And
Yeah,
I just wanted to share a quick story with you. Then I want to basically get to like what you were saying your notes though too. But I want to share this with you, bro.
sure.
I never told this story. Okay, so I go to Merced though, right? Merced Fairgrounds was like kind of where it was at, right? Popping though,
Yeah,
right? I go there. I'm doing my swipes. I do the hand glide. I get up. I think I'm like, yo, I'm super fresh. I got it. And some dude looked at me. He was like, his name was Ray, chubby Mexican dude. He said, you know what? He said next weekend in Modesto, there's a crew called Party Zone. They're gonna throw a party at the California Ballroom, right?
yeah.
So I said, what?
Ballroom.
They said there's a dude. They said like he thinks he's super cocky. He thinks he's the best. I said, what's his name? He said his name is Ivan. I said, Ivan. I said, that's it. Like he was living kid action, kid terrific. I mean, just Ivan. Ivan sounded plain because b boys always had like their b boy name is like it's a character.
Yeah.
It's a character, Mr. Freeze, Frosty Freeze,
Right.
Mikey-Ice, Ramon.
Right.
So just Ivan, and I was like, oh, I said, I got this dude, bro. So I drove from Madera, right? I get off the 99, get off the, I think it's the Breakmore exit. I see the Modesto Mall. So I go inside of Modesto Mall solo, bro. When I'm walking around, and I see this white kid looking at me, and he introduced himself. I said, what's your name? He said, Tony Perez. And then I see this T-shirt and airbrush. It said Fatal Creation.
Oh, okay.
I said, oh, Fatal Creation? I said, is that a car club? He's on, no, bro. He's on, we're B-boys. And he's on, the rest of my crew, he's on, after I get from the mall, we can go over to the house. And I said, who's the rest of your crew? He said, Calvin and Curtis and Old Time.
Yep. Them cats were dope, man. Those guys were fresh, too.
I heard a lot about Calvin and Curtis, bro. I heard they were Ivan's rivalry because they can do power and they can do head spin.
Yeah, they were super power, man. They were good, man. Them brothers were really good.
Yes,
Otai, too.
They were. Otai was dope, too, right?
Good, yeah. There was so much.
So I get to the
here,
yeah.
man.
So I get to the ballroom, bro, and I see the line. There's so many girls in line, though, bro. I see Kenny, you know, like big old smile, like yo, you know, happy. So I get in there, right, and I see the dude, and I said, "Where does Ivan do that?" So I look to my left, and he comes in through the door. He puts his backpack down, and he runs, and he does a gainer off the wall, and then he does like 3 backflips, and he does maybe like 20-some halos. And it said, that's him. I said, yo. I said,
Yeah.
I said, no. I remember to myself, I was like, I didn't really want that smoke because I didn't have power like that. I'm a dancer, you know.
Yeah.
So he comes in, all right, and then he has 2 kids rolling with him. And I want to ask you, do you remember them? Because they were always rolling with him. Do you ever remember the 2 people Ivan used to roll with when he would go around Modesto?
Yeah, they were brothers. Olivier and
Javier and Olivier.
Yes.
The
Gremlins. Yes. And then there was another cat that rolled with them too. He was a graph writer. Oh man. Wix. Wix was fresh too, dude. That name was dope too. His tag name was dope. Wix.
You're from Turlock.
Yes. And then the Gremlins were, I think, from series, if I'm not mistaken. But I know and around here. B-Boy was B-Boy VDL 209 just said, yep, Gremlins. Yep.
Yo, so after that, Ivan said, you got a car? I said, I do. So we start walking out to where my car was at, right? And everybody's socializing and talking. And I see Ivan running like full speed, though, bro, and he stops. And he does a front gainer over the front end of my car.
Yep. Have you seen him flip over the? Have you seen him flip over a car? Yeah.
No, I never see him do over. I seen him flip over the front end of my car.
Yeah, front end of a car. Yeah, that's what he'll do. Front end of a car. Yep.
Right.
And even at the gym.
And after,
what's that?
Yeah. So then after that, I was a driver. I took me, Ivan, and the Gremlins, and then I took him to the DoubleTree party zone. They threw another rave at the DoubleTree right there where it says "Welcome to Modesto."
Yeah. Who was Party Zone? Who were those cats? I forget.
It was a party crew. It was a Mexican party crew. There were a bunch of ravers. They were the ones that were throwing the raves.
That's right. Yeah, I remember now. That's right. Yep.
Mm-hmm. They weren't throwing. Yeah, it wasn't no breaking events. It was pure raves.
All pure raves. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was Triangle Flavor and Party Zone were the 2 crews that was running the valley.
Yep, exactly. Hey, look, he says, ask Lloyd about the battle drill cover. Oh, shit. That's dope. Battle drill.
Tell me about that.
So that was Donnie's mixtape, his first mixtape.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and we called it Project Battle Drill. And then, yeah, he finally got down, you know, I don't know if you want to bring back that up. Like, let's, you know, talk back when Crumbs, like, got his first turntables and started
Let's
getting
talk about it. Yeah, we brought it up. Let's talk about it. Yeah, man.
I mean, it was one day, dude, his mom and myself, and I think if I'm not mistaken, Eric Vonheim was with us too, our boy Eric.
Okay.
We drove out to the Bay, and I don't even know what store we ended up going. It was like a Guitar Center or one of those, like, music shops. But yeah, we went and swooped up his SB 1200s. Yeah, and then his mixer and all this stuff. And he was already getting records as well too. We had like a little smaller record shop in Modesto that he was like digging there. And then we stopped by, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was Amoeba up in Berkeley, and then picked up a bunch more records there. And then he got back home, and then he just started messing around, man. And he got really good. I'd mess around with it too. And then, but yeah, back to the Project Battle Drill cover. That was his first mixtape that he completed. It was awesome, dude. It was like the beats, the mix, the transitions. I mean, for a kid his age, again, young. He was young, bro. He was still in high school. He was probably a sophomore, junior by then. But he had fucking turntables, dog. I mean, he was a talented kid. He played the drums like super fresh. So he got on the turntables. He created this mixtape. I designed the little flyer for him, or not the flyer, but the cover for him. And then and we called it Project Battle Drill because it was influenced from Saphir, Saphir the Saucy Nomad.
Okay.
And then we went over to Kinko's and made a shitload of copies of the covers, cut them up, did all that, I mean, we're sitting putting mixtapes together. And then we'd hit the jams, and then he would just sling them.
He would sell them or give them out?
Yeah, he'd give them out. Yep, he'd give them out. I think he'd sell them too, but majority of the time he'd give them out, you know what I mean? Just to promote himself, which was dope. And then in the inside cover of Project Battle Drill, we named all the crews, bro, and all the individuals that inspired us, and everyone that was within the network, within the Central Valley network, but as well as the Bay Area crews like Jughead, Knucklenecks, Jedi Clan at the time, all them crews. But we called everybody out, and I wrote everyone's crew down there. I crawled out, even the individual guys. Dude, back then we didn't even know who Pat and Oscar were, and I believe we put Pat and Oscar on there too. So we were just giving love. We were just like stoked about like this culture that we were like immersed in, you know what I mean?
And that's why I told you when I went over his house, I remember he was DJing on the back of his sweater. It said Style Elements Production.
Yes. Yeah. He called out that.
It wasn't even a crew. And I was like, I did. When I seen that, this is before, like they came up and got the name, and started taking it to LA. So when I seen Style Elements Production,
yeah,
I'm thinking like, is he like, I mean, does he have like a studio?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, damn, he got a studio? His garage was a studio.
Garage studio, man. Everyone was there too. I mean, that's like the spot. B-Boy VDL just said Dappa Don. That's what I dubbed him. I gave him that name, Dappa Don, for his DJ name.
Yeah.
Just for the.
But
I don't know.
B-Boy, yeah. On top of that, though, too, before he was Dappa Don, he went by the name Blitz.
Yeah, you told me about Blitz, but yeah, I remember Dappa Don. So
Blitz, when I met him, this was before Crumbs.
Yeah.
He was Blitz.
Yes. I'm not sure when the name Crumbs was originated, but I just remember him like, yeah, I'm going by Crumbs now. I'm like, okay. What? Really? I don't recall like him saying like, yo, I'm gonna change my name, because at that time it was just Donnie, you know what I mean, or Donnie Counts.
Right.
Yeah.
So Lloyd, getting back to what we talked about on the phone, can we go into your notes and we can acknowledge like how we were saying people that we felt in the valley, like we should get love because they gave us a platform to shine?
Oh man, dude. Yeah, absolutely. I think.
Remember we was on the phone and you started telling me the names?
Well, what, for me and how I was introduced into this, this community, it all started from the guys from California Soul. Okay. And that was Eric Doman, Shane, and Sean, the brothers, and this guy named Bippin. And we all went to school together. And they were already like this crew, and they were dope. They were house dancers, man. They got down, and naturally we were inspired by them. They were Eric was like a year or two older than us, so he was kind of like our mentor at the time too. Really good dude, man. Eric Doman, man, super fresh cat. And they had they had a DJ with them as well too, and DJ 99 was one of them. And man, if you go back to like even the DJs in the Central Valley, 99 put it on the map for all of us as well. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, man. He was. I mean,
Okay, because we didn't get that in Madeira. I couldn't pick up on, what was it, Hot 105? It was a station
yeah,
that
yeah,
he
yeah,
used to DJ
yeah.
on.
I think he was spinning for Hot 105. At that,
Mm-hmm.
like, well, before he was spinning, on the radio, dude. He was a DJ for gigs, right? He was a mobile
Mm-hmm.
DJ. But he would play all the jams, man. And so those dudes, California Soul and Central Unit was like the DJ crew of theirs.
Okay.
They fucking did all the jams, man. And so if it wasn't for those dudes rocking the house parties, you know, it wouldn't give us time. There wouldn't be like a little platform for us to showcase our dancing, right? And so,
Mm.
and then there's dudes like Kenny and his brothers, Gerald, and all
Oh,
those
yeah.
came out with their crew called Triangle Flavor, man. And then, dude, I remember doing some Triangle Flavor flyers, you know, sketching those out and getting them printed and all that. But,
Can I say something to that, though, real quick, Lloyd? Triangle flavor parties, so like I was going to a Cool Herc party.
oh yeah, yeah,
Everybody came, like how Herc said, people came from all over the Bronx and in Brooklyn. People were coming from Lodi, Galt, Ceres, Turlock, Fresno, Madeira,
yeah, man.
all races, all races. I remember on a good Saturday night, if you went to a Triangle Flavor party, there was probably at least 2,000 people at the dance.
A lot of people, man. I mean, it was shoulder to shoulder in the California ballroom. If we look at it now, if you go there now, you'd be like, oh damn, I thought it was bigger than it
Yeah,
was, but it's not. But it was shoulder to shoulder. Those events, man, Triangle Flavor put it down, and obviously they had, you know, the for me the highlight of the night would always be DJ Pause. Every time that dude would put the sets down, dude, that's when the ciphers would be crazy, man.
Oh, that's true.
Pause, man. I mean, yeah, Pause was dope, dude. He was from Stockton, and he
Oh,
always
he
had.
was Filipino,
Yes, I think he was Filipino and black.
huh? Okay.
He would put tracks down that no other DJ back then was like throwing down. He'd throw all the underground stuff,
You did?
and
Okay.
so that right there was, you know, DJ Paz would always be one of the dudes that always would take me or remind me of like those good times, because there was always his tracks, it was always his playlist, you know, his sets that always got me pumped up, and there were the songs that I'd like go find, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I want
dude.
to ask you a question. Lloyd, do you ever remember a Filipino cat by the name of Armin from Stockton? He was in Head Rush.
Oh, Head Rush. Yeah, I remember Head Rush crew. So was Head Rush crew like, was that Walter in them? Was Walter Johnson?
Walter Johnson, Rob
Rob
Winfield, Armin, and then somebody.
Yes, Rob. Rob, and man, there's another dudes, man, that just put the valley on the map too. Because then again, they were our elders, bro. They were older than us. Their
Mm-hmm.
styles was just, man. And it goes back to that whole, I mean, you know, a lot of hip hop dancing, right? But their tops, dude, their up rocks, just their flavor was like no other. And it was kind of like,
So I had to get that made me set my top lock up watching Walter and Rob.
Yep.
And Armin. I was like, bro, I got to get myself together, bro.
Man, sick. They were super sick. Hey, man, this guy VDL 209, B-boy VDL 209 knows what's up. He says right here, DJ Puzzle, straight up, man. And when Damaja came out with "Come Clean," that was the first time I had heard it like live. Was from DJ Paz's sets.
What?
Man, it was amazing, bro. And imagine that, dude, going into a jam and you just hear underground hip hop, and everyone just busting.
Everybody.
It was a time, dude. It was a dope time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Walter. I know you wanted to jump on. Yeah. I know you wanted to say something about the Manriquez brothers. Can you shed some light on them?
Oh,
because like how we said,
yep.
like that name right there. I was coming to Modesto like every other weekend, probably for at least about like 5 years because of the Manriquez brothers. Because when Ivan wasn't there, I would spend the night at the brother's house because the mom wouldn't let me.
Oh, wow.
The mom would let me. I would be somewhere in San Francisco, and the mom be like, "Hocus, I was cool with Hocus."
Yeah. Wow. And it was a time, bro. Like VDL said, man, it was amazing. And what Remind just said too, it was really good times, man. And I have such vivid memories of Remind getting down on the floor, dude. And you know, when he would do his
Super advanced stuff, though, bro. Honestly, I thought I was watching. Sorry to cut you up. I thought I was watching maybe like the movie Independence Day, like a new version of Breaking, because I knew what everybody was doing in Frisco and in
yep,
LA. But when I would see Remind on the floor and the patterns he was doing, it was like watching like Buck Rogers, though, bro. It was like it was already 20 years advanced than it was in the 90s because he's
yeah,
still using his concepts
right,
today, right now,
right,
right now.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
knew it was super futuristic.
It's a timeless style, right? I mean, it's crazy, and it could be because we were in our bubble of the Central Valley, but I mean, watching even videos and even going to the Bay, I mean, there was something about the style that came out of the Valley. There was something about
All of
the two.
us, all of us, you too.
There was something about Walter Johnson, the way he just freaked it, and Rob Winfield just freaking it. But then you see like Ariston get down and do just as dope. And that's like, man, dude, this kid is super fresh. And I remember meeting well before I met Ariston. I think the first time we met was like at California Ballroom, and then we just synced up. But yeah, man, it's amazing how much style has come out of here.
Because at one point in the time, people from Rock City were coming to Modesto, bro, because they wanted to see it. They
Well,
wanted to
yeah,
see it with their own eyes because they were
that's dope.
hearing about it. They was hearing about it because of the tapes that I was sending, and they would see that people would see the California Ballroom in the VHS tapes that I was trading. So people, I remember Stuntman, I remember everybody from LA, the whole LA crew came all the way to Modesto.
Yeah. You know what's amazing? You got to give yourself credit. I got to make sure I give you credit, bro. But
Okay.
excuse me, getting dry. But dude, you had a camera in your hand all the time, like all the time. And I tripped out on that, bro. I was like,
You did?
Mikey-Ice has got the camera all the time. And mind you, at that time too, I always had a camera, not at the jams, but just for personal stuff. I was always documenting stuff, filming stuff, photo taking, all that stuff, just on the learning side, right? Just trying to like dabble into it. I wasn't good or anything, but you always had a camera, dude. And I know, I'm sure you got some amazing footage
Oh,
that
yeah,
you probably have.
bro.
have
No.
is there footage that you haven't like showed or put
Oh,
out to the
there's
world yet?
a lot, though, bro. There is, I have like another chapter of video footage that's not even on the internet. And I think I'm gonna start releasing it because I'm gonna be getting funded pretty soon to produce my own Precious Kids.
That's dope, man. That's dope.
Yeah, so I'm gonna use that footage. I'm gonna use that footage that people haven't seen in 30
Yeah,
years.
yeah. But I commend you for doing that, man. Because you know, if you weren't doing that, then who would have been doing that?
Oh,
But
it
it's
would have
also,
been lost. It would have been a loss. A lot of style elements, early style elements
yeah,
footage, it wouldn't really got documented because Donnie got the camera
yeah,
after me. I was the first to have
yeah.
the
You were the
camera.
first to have the camera, and then he ended up getting a camera. Yeah, because it was all about capturing our footage, right? And then syncing it up, making those tapes and stuff like that. But yeah, man, and he ended up getting like the real high end shit too. I think he got like some sort of,
You got
but
a crazy camera,
yeah,
like worth a couple $1,000 though. But my little camera I got, it was $500 though, bro. And I took it everywhere with me. I got footage with you when we went to that quinceañera. Remember we was breaking and Ivan was dancing with all the Mexican people and he flipped off the wall and they went, hey. And
so
you came out too. Remember you came out?
yep. Well, I don't remember. I mean, but I'm
You
sure
did come out though, bro.
I got to see all that stuff, man. If you could share that stuff, that would be fresh,
Okay.
man. Yeah.
You came out. You came out one time. You did. Yeah, you did something. I think you did a couple of windows, and you kind of did like a bridge.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and you just kind of came out. Then you looked at me. You was like, "Yo, give me the camera." I was like, "No, I was trying to play it off because I wanted to make sure that I wanted to get the whole party."
Yeah. Well, let's.
Yeah, I wish I would have got more of me, but I think my mindset was just like, get as much as you can, bro. Like, it was like a gold mine. All you guys were like a gold mine to me, though, bro. Because when I would get those tapes and I would be in Madeira, it was like watching, like I was watching the future, though, bro, in the country.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Like this cat just said, Renee. Was it Komba Karate? We need
What
to
do you
know
say?
West Coast history. Yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
dude, you got all that documentation, and just if you put all that together, man, share that. Dude, I remember also like one of my memories too with when Style Elements, before Style Elements even came about. It was my sister's 18th birthday, and we had a house party at my parents' house. We threw it in the garage, and everyone was dancing, grooving. We had music going and all that stuff. And Ariston rolled up, and Donnie rolled up, and Gons rolled up, and Super Dave rolled up. They all came, right? And for me, that was like the first time I heard the name. Like they came, and they go,
Oh,
we're like, dude, we're formulating this name, but I don't know where the origin story of the name came about. But I know that night was one of the nights that they were like, hey, we're putting this together. This is what it's going to be called. And
you
at
know
that
what
time,
year that could have been?
well, it was, um,
It
I
had
want
to
to
be 90, late 94, early
94,
95.
94, 95. Yeah. 94, 95.
Yeah.
Yeah. My sister had turned 18. And then, we had a friend, Walter John, not Walter Johnson, Walter, I forget his last name, but he went by Eclipse 427. And
Oh, okay, I don't remember that.
yeah. And, um, he came out, and him and Ariston started battling, rhyming. They had a little rhyme off. Yeah. So it was fresh, dude. It happened in my parents' garage, so it was pretty fresh. But as far as like the name, man, that's when I remember like the name starting to come out. Like, oh, dude, we're gonna establish this. This was gonna be called. And I know Ivan had a hand in that as well too. I don't know the full story about it, but I do know that Ariston, Donnie, Boogie T, Tino, Jaime, they were all here too. And then, um, Super Dave, then just kind of like, created this like Voltron crew, right?
And you gotta. There's one more person nobody speaks about him, and I want to share that game.
Oh, Gabe. That was Dave's boy. Gabe was fresh too, dude. Yeah. Gabe. Whatever happened to him?
Well, as far as I know, like he got caught up into some crime, and I think he did a prison bid, and then when he got out, I think
Mm,
he just got a lady, and I think he just went a different way in life. But
okay, good for him.
he did just
Yeah.
resign. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he was dope too, man. He had some good power moves.
Gabe was nice though, bro.
So
You know.
nice. Yep. And
And somebody had mentioned, and I was gonna bring that up. You know, like how you said though, before I heard the name Sky Elements, I remember we had went to a talent show, and Remind, they was like, we're gonna enter, and I was like, I'm gonna record. I said, I gotta record it. Basically, I couldn't enter if I would have went up on stage with them, and they signed up as the Children of Al Capone.
I remember that. And that was probably Ivan's. I think Ivan probably came up with that name, right?
Hold on, I'm on the phone. Yeah, Ivan, I came up with
Yeah,
that.
yeah. That I remember that.
Yeah. So yeah. Ivan had, came up with that name, the Children of Al Capone, and I'm not too sure if it was him, but I remember that name kind of became, like a thing for them,
Yeah,
And then the first time that I heard about them using it is
yeah.
when I went to the Radiotron,
Okay.
you know,
The
and
first. Which?
it was Star Elements versus the X
Oh
Men.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. What's crazy is I never attended none of those events because I remember, geez, At that time, dude, I was caught up with work, man. I was working at the mall at the time, and I had a girlfriend, and I was kind of locked down, kind of. And you guys all went down south, did all the jams, did all the events, and then come back with all the stories and all the footage. And I was like, man, what a time to like get that type of content, right? Go down there, record it, bring it back home, study the film, and just watch it like in Donnie's studio.
You know what I remember though too, Lloyd, is that I just remember us like just being like it was just like us. It was me, you, Tino, Jaime, Ramon, and just us. Like kind of like, and then after a while, I just kind of noticed like everybody kind of just started moving on, like with life. So as everybody started getting like
Yeah,
better, I noticed everybody kind of started breaking out, which was
yeah,
okay, you know. But I remember before everybody kind of like start getting a name, even myself, us, we was everything to each other though, bro. To me, I looked at you as my brother, not just another dancer, because every time I got to Modesto,
yeah,
I was like, we all called each other. You
yeah,
remember that?
yeah, yeah. I
And
remember
some will ride with me in the car, and some will ride with you
that.
in the car.
Exactly. Yeah, that was dope, man. That was a good time. Do you
And
remember like?
that,
Do you remember like how you got involved and how like instrumental you got involved with like the crew with Style Elements? Like
I
all
do.
happened.
Yeah, for me, to be honest with you, like I remember um seeing like Ramon being like young though, bro, like super young, and I remember him battling like
Oh,
some
Twyla.
Filipino kid.
What's up, Twyla? Sorry, my bad, bro.
Oh, Swiler. Okay, okay. So I remember like gravitating towards like Ramon first because I went to a party in Stockton and I
Hmm.
seen him battling like six dudes by himself, and I remember Gabe walked over to me and he tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, "Hey, bro, I need your help." I said, "For what?" He said, "Because this dude is serving us over here." And it was Ramon battling like Gabe, um,
Mm.
what's the dude's name? Cosmo. Remember the popper Cosmo?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, he was serving them though, bro. And then after that, we kind of I kind of just went and introduced myself. So and then from there, you know, when I would go to California Ballroom, he would show up with Valentino,
yep.
and then after that, because Donnie had the house and I had the car, everybody started riding with me.
Okay.
And that's how we basically started our friendship. And then from the parties, we will all go to the garage. And then on top of that, just because they were younger, like I will buy like all of them like 40. Like Donnie was
Yeah,
drinking here. You can't drink a 40, man.
that's fresh, man. Getting the 40, dude. That was like after the jams, right? Hit the taco trucks downtown, and then hit up to like Donnie's spot or something. You know what I mean? Yeah, going back to like the origin stories of like these crews, right?
Yeah.
Let's start back on how, like, even like when California Soul was kind of like my influence, and then eventually Manriquez, we got introduced to the Manriquez brothers through California Soul,
Oh,
and yeah,
okay.
and then and it was always those two crews that were always like performing at a quinceañera or
Mm.
performing at Hot 105 event, or Manriquez brothers are opening up for Lighter Shade of Brown. I remember Manriquez brothers they got us to perform with them for Lighter Shade of Brown at in I think if I'm not mistaken, it was at the Merced Fairgrounds. And
Mm.
so it was just like these crews that were like getting us involved as well too. You know what I mean? We were like these up and comer dancers. You know what I mean? We
Mm-hmm.
didn't really establish crew yet, but in high school we went by the name of Booney Boys, BB.
Ooh, I never heard that.
Yeah, so I started that with David Matalbo, my cousin Albert, rest in peace, and our buddy Mike Lay. So it was like the four of us,
There
and then
was a
we
Filipino
kind
dude
of
that used to hang
like,
out with you, huh?
what's that?
Am I right? Another Filipino dude that used to hang out with you. He was kind of chubby.
That was Tripdo. Yeah, yeah. That was Tripdo. He was down too. Yes, he was down too, man. He was a good friend of mine back then too. Like we all went to school together. And then whatever California Soul did too, like we did as well, do, because they invited us to all these events, right? Even like hanging out up in San Jose and stuff like that. Well, before we met up with like the Jughead tribe in San Jose, like them cat. Yeah. So if it weren't for like California Soul, kind of them bringing us under their wings and kind of like exposing us to like these parties that they danced at, man, and we wouldn't be doing what we were doing back then. You know what I mean? We would probably just be trying to find our way, but they totally helped us get into that lane, right? And then even
big deal though, bro. They had a good cheering squad with them when they were coming
who's
up.
that? What's that?
California Soul, they had a good cheering
Oh,
squad. They were like the home team.
yeah,
They were
for
like
sure.
the Lakers
Oh
from
yeah,
Modesto.
man. Because you know what? Like I said earlier, 99, DJ 99, and there was an MC, and there was also this girl named Candy. Her name was Candy, and she was dope. She was an MC, and that was like kind of their crew. So they would
Never heard of that.
parties, and then we would be like backup dancers. And then they got us involved with when the Cover Girls came and performed at the Central Ball, what is it, at the downtown at the hotel over there.
Okay.
They performed there, and they got us to be like their backup dancers. The Cover Girls, man. And it's like, yeah, that's dope, right? You know what I mean? We didn't get paid for none of that, but it was just like that exposure, the opportunity, and we took it. We were young cats just trying to get our dance on.
Somebody said Central Unit.
Central Unit, that's it. Central Unit DJs. So Central Unit was 1999. Candy. There was another MC rapper. I forget his name. Paul. I think his name was Paul. And then there was, and I forget his name. But yeah, they were their crew, man. They were like a little party crew.
Wow, I never heard of that. Okay.
Yeah. And so all from here in Modesto, man. All from Modesto. And so much came out of here, dude.
Lloyd, do you remember a club in Modesto called Frankie?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
I would take you to Frankie's though, bro.
Oh man. Yep. There was a lot of stuff like that, man. Do you remember? I mean, man, I don't remember like the names of the other clubs and jams, but I just always remember what's made a real big impact on me was the Triangle of Flavor events, just because it was so culture, right? Like this drew in so many people from Stockton, from Modesto, down from to as far as like Fresno. I know Fresno people were coming up for those events. And it brought so many people together, dude, and it was like just straight raw hip hop.
And nobody ever really got hurt. Nobody got stabbed and shot. I never heard anybody get stabbed and shot or beat up.
Yeah, there was some bullshit sometimes, but oftentimes not, dude. It was everyone was just
serious.
time and dance.
Dance was it though, bro.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about that, Kenny always had me on the guest list.
Always, man. Kenny was, man. I mean,
and like all the dancers, Arista and all of us, we will all get on the guest list, so we didn't have to wait in line.
It's like what Aristan just said a little bit ago. We were like a big family. You know what I mean? We were a big family, even though like we all came from different pockets. You know, Stockton, Modesto, Madera, Merced, Turlock, Sacramento. Like, dude, we were all together. We vibed, and then next thing you know, it was like, dude, everyone's coming now because we told everyone, and then you know what I mean? Like kind of that word of mouth. Back then, it was all word of mouth.
No cell phone, no internet.
Just pagers, bro.
Yo, Lloyd, let me ask you too.
And we're just paging each other.
Let me ask you. Do you ever remember the first time that you met me?
The very first time I met you, I don't know if it was was it at Growers Hall, Stockton? Like after.
It was in Merced.
Okay, it was after an event too, right? Like completely when like lights were on, no more music, and we were just kind of like just.
Though,
what's that?
You know how I remember?
How?
Because I remember like you guys had showed up to this Merced dance, and you guys came later. But like when you guys came in, the DJ started playing Flavor in Your Ear, and you and Donnie took turns going out in the circle, and I recorded it.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
That was
Really?
my introduction when I first met you.
Oh, that's dope. Okay. Yeah. We were grooving to some Craig Mack. Was that
Right now.
before Crumbs then? That must have been before Crumbs.
Yeah, he wasn't going by crumbs
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. Okay. See, it's just like that. That's a perfect example. See how I took him with me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd go pick him up, boom, we jammed, and we'd head to a party.
Hmm.
Yeah. I'm so
So
proud of
is it?
dude. I am so proud. I mean, I'm proud of everyone that came out of the Valley
Yeah.
and pursued their dance careers and really made an impact in in their respective fields of dance, whether it's in music videos or in dance battles and things like that, right? But you know, for me, Donnie and Arissa were family, right? Those were like my brothers. Like they were like my little brothers, really.
Hmm.
Um, and when they'd be up in LA or they'd be up in Japan or they'd be up in Germany, wherever they'd be flying to, and I'd be stuck in Modesto working. I just was so proud of them, man. Like so
Mm.
fucking proud of them. Like, wow, dude, these dudes. And I tell my coworkers, hey, my friends, dude, they're in LA, they're doing this event out there, and I'll get the footage when they come back, but you'll see they're gonna go tear it up. Or they're up in Japan, they're doing this like event with G Shock, and next thing you know, fucking Donnie comes back, brings me like 3 G Shocks from Japan. I'm like, damn, that's the shit, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, dude, I was so proud of them, man. I'm still proud of those dudes, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Everybody pretty much that came out the valley,
yep.
like all of us, we actually did something with our dance.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
we actually made a name for ourselves where it's like we're recognized worldwide.
Of course. And it's influence, right? It's a trickle effect of influence. It's what you guys did, it's what we all did, and what we did to showcase to our peers, but then it trickled down outside of the valley, then over to the Bay, but vice versa, right? It's no different than what Pat and Oscar in San Francisco did. Like, we didn't even know them. Like, we've never met them. And how did we hear about them? It was all through freaking word of mouth. And then watching them on Motion Man's videos, and for them to be dancing on King Tech and Sway shows, and then summer jams. But then all we heard was the names. But then when we seen them dance, it's like, dude, they influenced us. Like, they hyped us up. They were like doing their own style, right? Like, Oscar is a good friend of mine today.
What?
Yeah, today. And back then, we never even met during like those days, right? That era, we never met. We met probably in the last like 8 years is when we finally met in person and found out that we had mutual friends and all that stuff. And it was the Oscar from Pat and Oscar. You know what I mean? So what was so fresh about that is just the influence, that trickle effect of influence. So everything that came from the valley that trickled out outside, then outside elsewhere, and then then globally. Like, dude, it's there's a there's no doubt that our dance style and our names, your guys' names, the Mikey-Ices, the Reminds, the Super Daves,
Yeah.
the Gonzes, all of these guys, dude, all of you guys had made such an impact to all the other dancers outside of the valley, dude. And that's
Oh yeah.
the beauty, man. That's the beauty. You know what I mean? And it's proof
It's
of what.
powerful though, bro. It's to me, it's powerful when like I gotta speak for myself when I walk in a dance event
Right.
and like 5 minutes out the car, I'm shaking like I already shook like five people's hands.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like as soon as I walk in an event, like the DJ shouts me out, so bro, it's like all the judges are like giving me like the head nod, though. It's even to this day, like I'm just there as being a fan, as a spectator.
You know what I wanted to do, bro? And totally off. I know
Hmm.
we're kind of going all over the place, but I wanted, dude, we should freaking throw a jam at California Ballroom just for like a bringing back the old school vibe.
You know what? Somebody from New York offered me to do that. They said they would at least put down $1,000 for the funding, and they
Dude, why don't we do
said
it, bro?
we
We'll
should do
all
that,
just we'll put
bro.
together, like, let's put a collective together and really throw down a jam. I think this California Ballroom's still open, but if
Oh,
it is open, it's available to rent out, dude. I think we should like just get a a Central Valley hip hop collective, and it's like a reunion. And it's a reunion. We'll get Kenny. We'll get Kenny involved. We'll have all our boys involved. We'll get VDL 209 involved. Like, we should bring that back, bro, and play the beats from that era as well. Keep it period correct, right? Let's keep 90.
That would be too crazy.
That would be fresh. Because at the same time, what we can do too is we can introduce that feel to like the next generation, this newer generation, the generation today. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so let's bring that back and just do it.
Okay, I'm gonna speak to the dude about it. He was serious about it, and he said that he was gonna pay for a camera crew to be at the event and stream it live though too, so it can be seen at the same time while it's happening. He was gonna fund the camera crew.
Hell yeah. Even if we don't get a camera crew, bro, if we keep it true to the roots, Instagram live it, whatever, but just have this event at the ballroom where it originated, where all that shit originated, like where we all met, where we all battled, where we all had beef, where we all became friends, where we, you know what I'm saying? Like, we need to have that revival, bro.
Right. Lloyd, since, like you said though, like when you were with all of us, and you know we're in the garage, and I'm watching Donnie and them develop and stuff. I want to know what in your mind that it kind of crossed your mind that, you know what, like these guys are going to change as well though when you was watching them dance, because there was a moment that I remember seeing that. I remember seeing it being very like playful and, you know, not taking serious, because on some world champion shit where I was like, bro, these fools gonna smoke, like, can nobody handle them?
Yeah.
Do you ever remember like when you would be in the garage and you kind of knew that, you know what, these guys are gonna be the next like Jackson 5?
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, not necessarily that level, but I knew what they were doing was influencing others, because dudes from all Southern California were rolling up. Dudes from up north, Washington, were rolling down. Like, why are these guys coming, right? And it's like, because they've developed this style, they developed this like this unique look, feel, aesthetic in dance, in b-boyism, right out of Modesto, Stockton. And I already knew, because you're already affecting others. So if you're bringing those people to come out just because, it's like you're doing something that's uniquely interesting, right? It's not just, you know, just a couple dudes just dancing and doing their thing. No, these dudes were serious about their shit. You know what I mean? They're dedicated to the craft. You know what I mean? Like dedicated to the craft, dude. I mean, Donnie, dude, I've known him mostly all you know, like nearly 25 years or so, 30 years, but no, 25 years, 20 years. He wasn't locking down no jobs, bro. He wasn't working. His job was to dance, right? And so he constantly elevated his skills, bro. And just as he continued to elevate those skills, same with the wristing, bro. I just knew, man. I just knew we were different.
Yeah, me too.
And like I said again, dude, I could be totally just keeping myself in my own bubble, but I knew what was good. I knew what was fresh. I knew what was style, bro. I knew what things were with flavor. And then that's kind of like, I've always had this discernment on like picking out like people that had dope character, but also like their body formation and their fluidity and how they moved. And I just knew like these dudes had like their own shit. You know what I mean? It was dope. And then obviously the constant practice, man. I mean, these dudes were truly dedicated, you know? And then I think one of the
3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, dude. And one of the eye openers for me too was when they battled Housing Authority. Remember when they battled Housing Authority in Berkeley? When they battled Housing Authority, dude, and Housing Authority's dope, dude. Those cats were really fresh. I knew they captivated that crowd, and that was the Bay's crowd, right? That was like Housing Authority's like home turf was there. And when our boys came in and kind of like just did their thing, it blew everyone out. Like everyone was like, what the fuck happened? Right. I mean, that's one of the dopest battles probably to this date was Housing Authority Style Elements, and Flowmaster was a part of that too.
And what was even more crazy, it was an all-black crowd too.
It was, man. And then you got Don, white kid, coming in busting, and it's like, what? But no, it was fresh, man. That was such an epic time in the, you know, as I would say it was like the growing phases of Style Elements. And then later on, you know, to be honest with you, down the road, a lot of dudes from Southern California that I've never really knew that came on board. I didn't really get to know them just because they were busy traveling. They were doing their thing. And my ass was just tied down, locked in.
Yeah, I'm just on the phone real quick. Okay, yeah.
And would you get?
Go ahead, Lloyd. I'm listening. Okay. Yeah, give me like 10 minutes if you don't mind. I'm just doing like a video call. If you don't mind. Okay.
10 minutes.
All right, Lloyd, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Bro.
Okay, Lloyd, I'm sorry. Can you finish what you were gonna say?
Rocksteady Style Elements Battle 2 was fucking dope too. Yes. That was in SoCal. That was the was that SoCal?
Yes.
Yeah. That was at Radiotron? No, not Radiotron. What was the other event down there?
The B-Boy Summit.
B-Boy Summit. Yeah, that was the B-Boy Summit battle that he's referring to right here. Yep. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I had so much I believed in them. You know what I mean? I believed Donnie from the get, you know, ever since I kind of, when I took him under my wing and took him out and about with me to all the parties and all the events, I just knew the kid was talented and he was all about it. And he was all about practicing and constantly learning and practicing and putting the time. I mean, and then when him and Ariston united, bro, I mean, and Ivan as well, dude, when the three united, like, it was unbelievable. Yep. So much.
Yeah, it was yeah. Is there maybe one more other footage you want to like touch on, because I got to do something. Is there one more thing that we can touch on before the night?
No, I mean, well, I mean, we can. I mean, I don't know if we've touched on. I mean, we can keep talking stories, but like, you tell me, man.
You know what I could do, Lloyd? If you're still available, I can get off like right now, speak to like what do you want to say, and I can be back on like with you like in 10 minutes if you give me that.
You want me to put some music on? Look at this. I had this kind of queued already. Yeah.
Would that be cool?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. So I'll get off right now, and I'll be back in 10 minutes, and we'll continue.
Okay, sounds good.
Because I do want to finish, though, because, yeah, there's a couple of more things I want to talk about.
All right, sounds good, man.
Okay.
All right, peace.
Peace.